Hey, you're listening to The Growth Signal. My name is Alyssa Nolte,
And I'm from Fuquan Bilal.
and we're going to get right into it. Tell us, what is your hot take?
Wow. Well, for business, what I've learned over the last few years is that there's four parts of business that you really need to focus on, and that's people, strategy, execution, and cash. You need to have a balance of all three of those on your quarterly goals in order to have a successful business.
I love that you are very specific about that because I feel like too many times business owners focus on maybe doing one or two of those well, but they neglect the other ones. So tell us, what do you think it takes? What does a great business leader look like? And how do they successfully focus on people and strategy without neglecting cash and execution, for example?
Yeah, what I've learned over the years, and by the way, I hired a CEO coach because I call myself the chief visionary officer. I'm learning how to be a CEO and really master operations and really just having a great butt in the right seat and the great team members. But what I learned is those are four parts of the business that you can't avoid. And if you create, one or two goals a quarter just to move the needle a little further in any of those areas, you'll start to see a business grow. The people part is so important, whether you're working on bonuses for your team, better compensation plans for new people that you're bringing on, just any developmental goals. If you're creating job scorecards to really define who you want to be on your team and how you're going to measure them for success, when they come in. So creating those job scorecards are very important when it comes to the people part. And then, execute it on a strategy and always making sure that you have the cash to grow the business as well. So you have to have things in all four of those departments in order to successfully scale your business.
And I think you're so spot on with those things because I consider myself I fall into that chief visionary role as well. That's kind of definitely where I naturally feel the most comfortable. And if you're familiar with EOS as
Yes.
a solution system, yes. So I went through that EOS thing and I scored super high on the visionary chart, and I was basically maybe the worst integrator on the face of the planet. Because I love that creative side of things, but you have to find the people who can take that vision and turn it into something that's real, because otherwise it's all good ideas and excitement and not a lot of cash coming along with it.
Yeah, I love the EOS model. Actually, we run our company on EOS. I have my CEO coach took me through scaling up, which is Rockefeller Habits 2.0. But my whole operation runs off of EOS, and it takes years for everybody to gel together and want to actually do it and have those weekly level 10 meetings and go through those whole process and make quarterly goals and rocks and go through that. It's a process, but you won't believe the benefit you'll get out of it if you can get your team members to be in sync with it and believe in it. It's going to
Yeah.
help them operationally, and it's going to help you get rid of the weak people also. People who don't want to develop SOPs and follow a process, and they want to row a different direction in the boat where everybody else is rowing in one direction. It's important to have that alignment. And again, it's the people part of EOS too. The people analyze it, right? If they get it, got it, want it, and have the capacity to do it, checking on that on a quality basis to help grow your team member is good also.
Yeah. I actually started using that get it when it has the capacity to do it concept for my customers when I was thinking about my sales process. Like, do they get what I'm trying to sell them? Do they actually want it? Like the difference between, okay, they're kind of interested in it, but like, is this something they want? Are they excited about it? Because there's a lot of things that we need in life, right? I need to go order, groceries and toilet paper or whatever. I'm not necessarily like desperate to go do that. It's like something I have to do eventually, but there are things on my list that I want. And do I, as a seller, fall into that category? And the part that a lot of people forget is that last part. Do they have the capacity to buy the thing that I'm trying to sell them? And if the answer is no, the sale is dead. And it happens the same way with our teams. Do they get what we're trying to do? Do they want to get on board? Do they have the capacity to make it happen?
Yeah, for sure. Love it.
So tell us a little bit more about your business because when I was doing my background research, you're a very different kind of person who comes on this show. Normally, we're talking to people who work in corporate, who work in enterprise, but you have a really unique business. So tell us a little bit about that and tell us what it means to grow and how you've managed to grow your business in a way that's sustainable and still has heart.
Yeah, we specialize in alternative assets, something I've been doing for the past 26 years. Kind of jumped out the window on grew wings falling down, getting into real estate back in 99. Today, we run a private fund that raise capital for alternative assets. Here in New Jersey, where we're located in West Orange, New Jersey, We invest in luxury spec homes. We'll build anywhere from a 3,000 to 5,500 square foot home from the ground up, or additions or anything that's custom. And then in the Southeast, we invest in multifamily, and that's for low income
Mhm.
families, bad or limited children, seniors who can't afford a bump. So most of the capital raised that we have, most of the capital that we raise goes towards those type of assets. So we give accredited investors opportunity to partner with us on those type of deals.
What was it about alternative assets that really made you wanna jump in with your whole chest on that?
Well, just the appreciation, the depreciation advantage, the diversity that you have in it, the control you have over it, to liquidity. Those are pretty much the main reasons.
Sometimes I feel like bringing people in to invest in a fund feels as much like a sales experience, right? Trying to get them to buy into what you're selling, which is the future vision of their return. So tell us, how do you build those relationships with prospective investors and one, get them to, trust you, but two, actually write a check for this kind of a thing?
Yeah, it goes back to the earlier conversation we were having. Get it, got it, want it, have the capacity to do it, right? So do they get it, got it, will come from really education that we provide. So people have to get to know, like, and trust you in that order. So the first thing is you meet someone, you educate them on what you do. Then it's a nurturing process, whether it's through a series of webinars or you have educational resources that they can dive into to kind of understand what the investment is about. Then once the person understands what the investment is about and look at your track record to know that you're a good sponsor, eventually they will invest with you. So that's a long-term relationship. I would, if you have a startup business and you're trying to raise money, you really should go with the mindset of establishing a relationship, creating a relationship. And then over years, once people get to know, like, and trust you, eventually, if it's an asset class they like and they understand and they're educated in it, they feel more comfortable on investing. So that's pretty much how that works.
Looking at, the diversity of your portfolio almost, because there's a pretty big difference in building multifamily units versus luxury townhomes. What was it about not just niching down into one specific thing? Because that's the advice we hear from most people is like, pick a niche and be the best at it. But I can't imagine a greater difference between a 5,000 foot, luxury home versus a multifamily unit. So why did you choose to ignore that niche down advice?
Yeah, so multifamilies, we don't build from the ground up. We buy properties that are already in place, already operating, and we look for an opportunity to make it better, whether it's hiring better staff, creating more efficiency to increase profits. And the reason that we do that is part of our mission. I come from a low income area. So for me, what gives me my feel of importance is going to those communities and giving the residents a better place to live, better quality renovations, and really not just focusing on increasing the look of the curb appeal, but taking the property from complex to community. We just did like a trunk and treat event for our kids at the property. We have nonprofit organizations that will come in and these are like B plus C class properties when you have low income. So a lot of them are late 70s or mid 80s build, and they have function rooms where you can do, some financial literacy courses. You can teach people how to fill out resumes, how to interview. You have a lot of nonprofits come in to add value, and that's when you transition from complex to community. So that's really part of our impact project. The stuff we do here in New Jersey, the luxury spec homes, it's more fun and exciting, to get those done. That's something I started 26 years ago doing, fix and flips and building. So we have those relationships in our backyard. So we continue to keep those, and we took our rental portfolio down to the South Beach. So it gives us diversity to it then. Two different complete types of businesses.
So I'm gonna ask the elephant in the room that everyone who's listening to this is probably wondering, because this is at the end of the day, a business and growth and make money podcast. So, is there any benefit from your perspective to essentially, like, do you get business benefit from doing the right thing in this case and doing good in your community and giving back? Or is it just something that makes you feel good and therefore you can, write it off?
Well, I call it purposeful capitalism. It's at the end of the day, you have to make a return that's profitable while you creating an impact. When I first got into business, I was how would I say, a slave of money instead of a master. I was chasing it. This allows you to, and once you get us to a certain level, money it doesn't make you excited anymore. Is what impact are you giving to the world? So it's a good feeling, and also it's profitable as well. So purposeful capitalism, if you will, is what we call it. And the returns are great, right? So we self-manage, we control, which gives us better profit margins, help us understand business a little bit better, and to build our local boots on the ground team. So we want to, move towards our goal of growing. We have more control. So, like we mentioned earlier, you have to have an integrator for that side of the business, an integrator for this side of the business, and those are the people that focus on the execution.
It never occurred to me that you might need more than one integrator. That
Oh,
makes
for
a ton of
sure.
sense.
Every
Yeah.
business needs an integrator, and we look at that as two separate businesses,
I think
right?
that is so smart because in the end of the day, you as the visionary sees both, but they are very different approaches and models to be concerned with.
Correct.
That's really smart. So let's go back to zero. 25 years ago, you decided to jump into this, or 26 years ago, you decided to jump into this. And like all of us, you started at zero. So take us through that first, like, zero to whatever significant milestone you met where you finally had that moment of, this can work and I'm doing it and it's working.
Well, that was easy. I was actually pushed because I was working corporate at the time and I had landed a big account with Sony Lowe's, the little touchscreen tablets. I was working for a computer repair company. And basically, I landed a very large account. And the owners of the company took me to lunch and they said, we're going to lower your base salary a bit because we wasn't expecting for the volume of that deal you brought in to be so big. And they kind of capped me. My commission, they didn't adjust my commission, but they adjusted my base salary. And they went to Europe for a convention. And 2 weeks from that, I put my notice in. During that time, I was also shadowing a family member that was doing real estate. And now that he had had some success, and I was eager to, jump into it, and really learn as much as I can. So yeah, I just took the leap of faith, put my 2 week notice in, and never looked back, never thought twice.
I cannot believe that. I mean, like, I can truly believe that because I have worked with people and listened in on conversations and done a ton of these interviews now that I've heard some incredible stories. But so you make a big win for the company. And instead of celebrating you at lunch and celebrating the fact that you are driving their business forward, they said, you're doing a little bit too good. So we're going to
Yeah,
kneecap you a bit.
absolutely. That's what it was. I was a kid too. I was 23 years old and I landed a huge account, which brought me, a little north of 150,000 a year. And I guess they
Yeah.
looked at me like they're a kid, because they probably had children my age. They're like, wow, this is a little bit too much. So they kind of shaved my salary, my base to kind of bring me down with the sell of, hey, if you land another account like this, you'll make X amount. We know you can do it. So I sort of writing on the wall. And at that point, I just decided to reserve my energy, put it into
Yeah.
myself, and, took the leap of faith. Here I am 26 years later.
Yeah, and obviously that leap of faith turned out to be something great because you're building a thriving business. I have here in my notes bringing it from, $0 to over $50 million in investable assets. That is incredible.
Yeah, it's been a journey. It wasn't easy. Again, those four parts: people, strategy, execution, and cash. These were things that I've learned literally a few years ago. But I've been running an EOS model since after COVID, and that really helped me get a lot of efficiency and build processes. I mean, you need three parts of business: is the assets, the capital, and then scalability, right? Which is the operational part that most business owners fail. They want, money for their product and they want a bunch of product to make a bunch of money, but they forget about the systems and processes that need to be in place to keep everything going.
And that is a universal truth no matter what business you're in. Scale is not fun. Scale is not sexy. It's not fun to write down all your SOPs and like to do all of your the fully adopted version of all your process, but it is the thing that is going to change the course of your business.
Yeah, it's so worth it. I mean, we should focus on scaling to be better instead of scaling to be bitter, a bigger
Yeah.
operational efficiency trumps all the time.
Yes. Oh, I love that. We're doing this process because we want to be better, not because we're planning to be bigger. That is so
Correct.
smart.
Yep. 100%.
Considering all the people that you know or that you aspire to know, who else should we be listening to? Who's really doing it right?
Wow. I love Napoleon Hill. I know that's probably sounds cliche, but there's so much literature that's out there, Think and Grow Rich book. Sometimes you have to read these books 3 or 4 times before you grasp the real meaning of it. Even Maxwell Maltz wrote a book, Cybernetics, which is really good. He was a plastic surgeon, and he talked about really understanding yourself, having a winning self image. It all starts within, right? The real wealth is within. And when you constantly make yourself more, you become more, which you attract more. So, those are the people that I listen to, Jim Rohn and all those other guys. It's my morning listening to YouTube shorts and reading books. Brian Tracy's another great one for operations. So, yeah, I
I
could
love
have the
that.
list.
I love that. I'm always looking for books and thought leaders to add to my YouTube playlist or to my bookshelf. So I'm definitely going to be checking out all of those. If someone is really connecting with you, they want to learn more, they want to follow along, they want to, explore this solution for themselves, or they've got some money to invest and are looking to do good and make money by doing good, or just straight up make money, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, they can find my website is nngcapitalfund.com. That's nngcapitalfund.com. You can schedule a discovery call. I'd love to speak to you about your investment journey and see if there's anything that we can do. You also can find me on LinkedIn as well at Fuquan Bilal.
Well, thank you so much for joining this conversation today. I love what you're doing with your business. I can see so clearly that you are growing and growing in the right way with the right people, the right strategy execution, and obviously the cash. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.